When I first started teaching, teachers had huge filing cabinets full of paper copies, and some teachers had multiple filing cabinets. I inherited a bunch of those paper copies from a retiring teacher that even had those purple ditto copies. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you know what I'm talking about. Now, most of our files are digital, and while that doesn't take up a lot of physical space, it can be difficult to find the file you're looking for without some sort of organization. And that's what I'm sharing in today's video. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I love sharing ways to help teachers simplify their classroom and their teaching. With the abundance of digital files, whether you find something for free, your coworker sends you something, you purchase something from TPT, you find something on the internet, while digital files have really made things easier as far as space in our classrooms, finding those files on our computers sometimes can be a challenge. I don't know about you, but there are times when I know I have a file of something and then I go to look for it and I can't find it anywhere, and then you search and it's not named what you thought it was named, so you can't find it that way either. It just is frustrating when you know there's a file you're looking for and you can't find it. On top of that, I don't know how many times where I have been looking for a file and I pull up a file and I'm like, I forgot I had this, because it's so easy just to tuck it away in some digital space and never look at it again. I'm going to show you how I organize my digital files, making it so much easier to find things, but also to save time and make myself more productive, especially when lesson planning. Now, I still have some physical files and papers that I do keep that are not digital. I do have a video coming out next week all about how I organize the few physical files that I do have, so make sure you subscribe so you get notified when that goes live. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of how I organize my digital files, I do want to talk real quick about a cloud system. If you bring your work laptop, computer home, you probably don't really need this system as much as someone who leaves it at work like I do. But one of the things I really enjoy doing or making sure I have is a system to where when I do find something at home, I can save it to where my school self can find it. And so I personally use Dropbox. I have a school folder in my Dropbox. So when I'm at home or at work, I save everything to that school folder. That way I can find it either place. My school district also uses Google Drive, so I save a lot of things on my Google Drive as well. And it's really easy to share something if I don't have it in my school drive, just to share it to my school email account. But having a system like that, so it makes it no matter what computer you're on, where you're at, if your computer goes down, if you change schools, if you change districts, you are able to access all of your digital files. So just like if we had a filing cabinet with physical papers, we would use folders to organize and contain those papers. So the number one way to stay organized with your digital files is to create folders. And I'm talking a folder within a folder within a folder within a folder. Let's head over to the computer and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, like I said, I use Dropbox, and I have a folder in my Dropbox that is just called school with all of my other folders. I organize by the subject in different areas. One of the big ones I use so much at the beginning of the year in the summer is called my back to school. I have a folder for all of first week lesson plans, and then what I started doing several years ago, which really saves me time because there's a lot you forget from year to year for back to school, is I create a folder of everything I use at the beginning of the year. So next fall, I will create a 25, 26 folder, and I will start to take some of those and drag them over as I use it. And then if I don't use it, like these are the ones I did not use the year before, I will file those away into their correct category. I have back to school activities. These are just different ideas of things to do. These are, I believe, my presentations. And then classroom setup, all of the different files I use for that, parent night, and student jobs and student of the week, because those are the routines I set up at the beginning of the year. Then I have a folder for just different behavior files that I find, scholastic book orders, decor and decorations for the classroom. Honestly, that could probably go into the back to school, but I noticed myself looking for it in other places besides my back to school file, so I have its own. This was back when we had e-learning. I saved a lot of it because we have a few of those days occasionally, just so I have different things to go to. Now, ELA is probably my most organized folder because it is what I use for planning. And so I write writing and language plans for my grade level. And so I really have this nice and organized because I use it the most as compared to like my math folder. I have a handwriting folder because I recently purchased cursive writing resources and keep them there. My language folder contains all of our like language reviews and different topics that we teach in language. And so you can see I have folders within folders within folders, so that when it's time to start planning conjunctions, I can go to this folder and find what I'm looking for. Same thing with quotations or pronouns. You can see some things I have a lot of resources and some I have hardly any. And then writing is another one that I have folders within folders. So our personal narrative, research, a lot of my writing plans are actually my Google Drive, which I will show you that later. I haven't science of reading because I have basically been self-teaching myself. I haven't had any sort of training or anything like that. So a lot of this are things that I have found online, screenshots, or different sort of online things that I have taken. And so I pull a lot of different stuff out of there. And then my reading folder has a lot of different things. I have a whole fiction with different fiction standards, and then same thing with nonfiction, and then just a bunch of different activities and resources that go with teaching reading. I do the same thing for math, where it is broken down into category. The numbers I actually put in here because that's the order that we teach per our pacing guide, so it's just easier to find, especially since I'm not planning it. I just need it. I'm usually looking for something extra on the fly in the classroom, and I want to be able to find it quickly. The other folder that really helps me is my seasonal folder. So I have all of the different seasons. Again, I numbered it so it will be in order of the school year instead of alphabetical. Again, so it's easier to find. So any resources that I have for the different holidays, I just keep in here so that I can find things. And as you can see, I haven't had time to file all these. So a lot of times when I find things quickly in the middle of class or on my planning, I'll just throw it in the seasonal file and we'll go and file later. The final file I have is what I call the Zarchive, which is really just an archive folder, but I put a Z because I want it to be at the end of the list. And so this is where I will file things that I know that I'm just not going to use anymore. Maybe it's a dated resource, maybe it is a older grade level or older product that I'm just not going to access. And so I will stick it in here so that I don't need it, because I eventually put it in what's called my Zilch drive. It is only accessible at home, and it just has all my old files, things I'm just not ready to part with, but I just want them out of the way of the rest of my items. So I thought I would also share with you how I organize my Google Drive, because this is what I use at school. Well, this is my actual school Google Drive. I have my lesson plans. Weekly are things that I access weekly, and then I have classroom files, content, school, technology, personal, random. And honestly, these ones down here I don't use as often as I use these up here. So in my lesson plan files, I keep my long range plans, a resource I found for our new reading program, and then my must-do maybe slides that I use daily. And then I put a little asterisk on this year because it is the ones I'm currently accessing, so that I can find all of my files that I need. So I have it organized by quarter. And then this is actually a shortcut to our school share drive, where we have to put our lesson plans. And so this is where I can find our rough draft copy, because as a grade level we share and I only plan certain subjects. So this is where I go to find the plans for the week, and then I link them if we look at, like, let's say we're in quarter 2. So this was our recent week that we did. These are my actual plans that are shortcut to our drive that is shared, so that I can find it without having to go through a bunch of folders. And then this is my this is what I was supposed to plan, and this was because we had hurricane days and then a couple extra slides. So I have access to all those. I also keep my previous year lesson plan folder, so I can find what I'm looking for when I am trying to see what we did last year. Is there anything I can copy and paste, use the same activities, that type of thing. And then archive are just old years that I no longer need access to. So my weekly folders consist of things that I use regularly. Every Monday we have agenda slides, we have our class meetings, our class website, so I can update it if I have missing work. our morning affirmations that get pulled up. I actually have both of these. I don't actually go into this folder anymore because I have them bookmarked in a folder on my bookmark bar so I can open those immediately in the morning and not have to click into this folder to find them. Classroom is just a bunch of different forms, paperwork, end of the year, beginning of the year, just a bunch of different things. And then content has all of our subjects that we use. Mostly writing is where I go to link things into plans because I plan writing, and of course language, which consists of grammar and word study. So that's what those are. I used to do reading, which is why it's number 1. And I just haven't changed it since then. And so then school are just like different files that I need to have for my school. Technology has, honestly, I'm not sure, just a bunch of random stuff it looks like. It's where a lot of things like Google Classroom and all of those kind of like, when you use it, they give you these extra files. So I just stick them all in there so I don't really have to deal with it. And then honestly, like I said, I rarely access those. So those are all there. That way I can find things really quickly and I know exactly where things are. If I haven't already bookmarked them or pinned them to my browser, because it's actually easier to find that way. And I have a whole video. It's coming soon, so subscribe so you get to that. Want to save even more time when you're working on a computer? Check out the video that's on your screen now.